Mind hunger is based upon thoughts. I should eat more protein. I deserve an ice cream cone. I should drink 12 glasses of water a day. Eggs are good for you. They have lots of protein and vitamin A. Eggs are bad for you. They have too much cholesterol. Mind hunger is influenced by what we take in through eyes, ears, and the words we read and hear. So I wanted to just start this conversation about really getting clear about what mind hunger is thoughts.
Welcome to the Bariatric Nutrition Coach podcast, where we empower you with weight loss surgery, nutrition knowledge, mindset advice, and inspiration so you succeed in your weight and health journey. I'm your host, Jane Stoltz, and I am a bariatric dietitian who has helped over 1,300 people on their weight loss surgery journeys. I'm also a solo mum, lover of long walks while listening to podcasts, partial to a glass of wine, and the ocean is my happy place. Join me as I dive deep into bariatric nutrition and lifestyle topics and deliver them to you in bite-sized, palatable episodes every Monday. Now let's go.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Bariatric Nutrition Coach podcast. If you have listened to other podcast episodes that I have published, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here once again. If you are new to my podcast, if this is the first episode that you have listened to, welcome to my podcast. I decided to do a podcast to really have a space to, one, provide more education around bariatric nutrition that is a longer form content than I do maybe on, in Facebook or on Instagram, to provide a platform to share more bariatric voices. And really the aim also is some people to feel connected. And the lovely thing about podcasts and social media as well is that you can feel connected and hear about other people's journeys, get great information, no matter where you live in the world. And I really thank everyone for their support with my podcast because I have really wonderful feedback. So thank you so much. The episode today I've called Dealing with Head Hunger After Bariatric Surgery. And head hunger, mind hunger, what I'm talking about. You might already be saying, I know exactly what you mean, Jane, but you might be saying, oh, tell me a bit more about what do you mean, and I will. We're talking about a post-bariatric surgery in the weight loss surgery journey, but anyone can have head hunger or mind. This is not exclusive to having had bariatric surgery, but we're talking about that space because that's where I work. So what do I mean by head hunger or mind hunger? So I'm interchanging those, but I'll come back and probably use head hunger more. I am going to share a couple of excerpts. I can't say that properly. Okay, a couple of parts, little pieces of a book that I had read over 10 years ago. I loved it so much. I booked in to attend a training retreat in the US, just outside of New York. This was a long time ago. This is before I had my son, who turned 9 yesterday. And I was so excited about going, and then something personal happened in my life, and I had to cancel the trip. And not long after I had my child, and the rest is history, so to speak. I didn't make it. But I love this book. And I'll tell you the title and the order if you want to ever explore, read more about mindful eating. It's called Mindful Eating, A Guide to Rediscovering a Healthy and Joyful Relationship with Food. The author is Jan Bays, Bays, MD. And the foreword is by Jon Kabat-Zinn, and he is considered kind of the founding father of mindfulness. But I just want to read you a little bit about a little part of it regarding mind hunger. Mind hunger is based upon thoughts. I should eat more protein. I deserve an ice cream cone. I should drink 12 glasses of water a day. Eggs are good for you. They have lots of protein and vitamin A. Eggs are bad for you. They have too much cholesterol. Mind hunger is influenced by what we take in through eyes, ears, and the words we read and hear. So I wanted to just start this conversation about really getting clear about what we mind hunger. Mind hunger is thoughts. And very simply, it can be that desire to eat. You've got thoughts wanting you to saying, I want to eat, rationalizing eating when you're not physically hungry. When you identify, I'm not physically hungry, I don't need to eat anything, but I want to eat it. And the mind is driving you to eat and wanting you to eat something. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, and it's a struggle that can start from day one post bariatric surgery. Some of the things that we talk about when it comes to like struggles can come a bit further down the track in the weight loss surgery journey. But the struggle with head hunger can start from day one post surgery. And people can say, I am really hungry. And sometimes there is a physical hunger at a certain level, but often the surgery is taken care of that. Not always, meaning that the metabolic changes, it's not always physically identifiable, but it's that overnight, things have changed and you are on fluids and your head says, how can I be surviving on just fluids? I'm going to get malnourished. Oh, I wish I had that. I see something on TV, you smell some bacon. I've heard all these different things shared with me over the years of when people say, I felt fine and I smelled that, I really, really missed it and really missing food, and it can feel very, very uncomfortable. Another very common example is when, fluids going along and then you start eating and you're eating your puree and then you're eating soft, and the tummy, you eat a small amount, a couple of mouthfuls of food roughly, you eat a small amount and your body says, thank you very much, I've had enough. But your mind says, your brain says, your head says, but I want to eat more. That's not enough. How am I going to live off that? Surely I can eat a bit more. I ate so much more before. That can't be the struggle when I'm putting my hands down, one hand kind of flat, low, and the other one's on top of it, but a foot, 30, 40 centimetres above. And there's this struggle. This is bottom parts of the bottom hand's the stomach, the top hand's the brain, the head. And there's this struggle, this pull, this kind of like tug of war between both of them, can really struggle. And that's when you're eating and you say, okay, I think I've had enough. Oh, but I want a bit more. Another teaspoon of food. Oh, that's too much. So that struggle with head hunger, mind hunger, can come very early in your bariatric journey. So I wanted to explain that. I wanted to give you a bit of a sense of what we're talking about. So why do we want to be aware of our head hunger and learn to manage our head hunger? And the principal reason is that if we eat with our thoughts and the external environment guides us more on what to eat than our body, we are going to overeat. Okay? So head hunger and having that head hunger be loud, leading the way on our decision on when to stop eating or start eating and what we eat, it pulls you away from mindful eating. And I think sometimes when we talk about things like mindful eating, it can sound a little bit crystals and sitting on a beanbag. And I want to really debunk that because it's really about awareness eating. It's intuitive eating, listening to your body cues, listening to the desire to eat, and also when your body is saying, thank you so much, I've had enough. Because when we start focusing more inward with compassion and we get better at listening to our body, we are less likely to overeat. So that is why it's such a great topic to talk about. It's a great topic to check in as you listen to this podcast and say, what's my head hunger? When do I have that? I'm a really big fan. I work a lot with my clients on looking at their patterns and their triggers for their eating habits that are taking them off course and off track, off their bariatric journey. So head hunger really drives a lot of that. And it's those thoughts, it's those when we're rationalizing, I can have that, I should have that, I shouldn't have that, I deserve that, or I don't deserve that. So being aware of those thoughts that are kind of leading your decision to eat. When we listen to our body and listen to our hunger and fullness cues, it's not like we don't want to have foods that we really enjoy and we love and find balance, but we also want to be able to stop eating when our body says, from a physical level, we've eaten enough. So I would like to now read you another little part of this book, this little paragraph, because I think it really sums up where I'm headed for the rest of my podcast. So the paragraph starts now. The mind is truly content only when it becomes quiet. When the many and contradictory voices around eating are still, when the awareness function is dominant over the thinking function, then we can become fully present as we eat. When we are filled with awareness, we become filled with satisfaction. So I talk a lot about this coming out of our head, so to speak, and into our body. And when we're sitting and eating and sitting in front of computers, TVs, even at the very busy dinner table, in a busy environment, watching our phones, our focus can be very much in our head and externally. We're thinking a lot. We're not feeling. And we want to get into that practice of just taking a deep breath before we start eating and really checking in on how we feel and being aware of how we feel and kind of looking inward, checking in with our body. Over years of eating like this, we lose that practice of listening to our body cues. We lose the practice of really listening to how we're feeling in our body. And if you've done things like yoga and they start the class off with being like moving the body and feeling where you've got tension and just kind of checking in. And it's a great thing because you don't have to tell anyone you're doing it at the dinner table or wherever you're eating. You can just sit there for a minute and say, okay, how hungry am I? And I want to eat intentionally this meal because I'm nourishing my body, but I also want to enjoy every mouthful. So intuitive eating, mindful eating is enjoying your food. It is enjoying every mouthful and being really aware and quietening the mind, because then you can eat in that space where you can listen to your body cues. Now you might be saying, Jane, I've had bariatric surgery and I'm like 3 months from surgery or wherever you are, and I can't feel when I'm hungry. And I have trouble even feeling when I've had enough, but I get signs that I've overeaten. And yes, this is really common. And I'm not saying this is about perfection, but what I do work on with my clients is really learning, and I've got different tools that we use to listen to how your body feels after your bariatric surgery. And you've probably heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again. Before surgery, your body was like a yell when you were really hungry. You ate quite a bit, or a bit. You could go for a long time without eating, and then your body would, I need to eat. You couldn't miss it. Whereas after surgery, it can be like a whisper. It can be really subtle. And also your satisfaction and satiety cues can be very subtle as well. And people will say so often, I felt okay, one more teaspoon and tip me overfall. Or I get like a little pain in my shoulder or a pain. I feel it there, or my nose runs, or I sneeze, and those things, and they realise they've had enough. So that's your body talking to you, maybe in a different language that it talked to you pre-surgery. So it's really about getting to know your body again and practicing listening to your body cues. Because when you're a baby, you did that. And the example I use is you start feeling a baby when they're on that little mushy phase. It wasn't that fun. Anyone that's had little ones, food's everywhere, and anyway, it brings back some lovely memories, but also lots of cleaning the kitchen floor. But you'd give them a teaspoon in their little gummy mouth. Great. And my son's first word was more at dinner. It wasn't mum, wasn't anything like that. It was more, because I would say to him after each more, and he'd say more, and another one. And when they've had enough, push the spoon. You think, oh, you can have a bit more. Push the spoon away. I've had enough. I want to get on with things. And so we lose that over time. And that's what we want to come back to.
Now tell me, is this you? You have had your bariatric surgery and you're feeling lost, you're lacking support, and you don't know what to eat and when. Or you may have noticed after your surgery, your hunger and cravings have started to return and you are scared you won't reach your goals. You may have had some weight regain and you want to stop the weight regain and lose some more weight. You may be pre-surgery and you want support to be fully prepared for your weight loss surgery journey. If any of these sound like you, then listen up. I have developed my Bariatric Nutrition Bootcamp just for you. My coaching program provides education, coaching and community for people getting ready for their weight loss surgery and at every stage after their surgery.
You were so fantastic. You didn't just go, here you go, off you go. You were like, right, here you go. Let's do it step by step. And it's that step by step. If somebody's prepared to help you like that, it's immeasurable. It's priceless.
Your help just changed the game for me, right? It just changed the trajectory of my ability to understand what my body's telling me and trusting it. That was a hard one, right? Because my body, I can override it in a lot of ways in the past.
I think that hiring Jane has actually been the best thing that I've done. I was lost. I had no idea what to expect. I've never done bariatric surgery before. I've never had it done before. So yes, you have all the information from your surgeon and from their nutritionist and all that sort of stuff. If you have lifetime support, that's great. But a lot of times you don't. So you need to take that next step and invest in yourself, because that's what it is. It's the most amazing investment that I've made.
There are 4 key areas that I focus on with my clients in my Bariatric Nutrition Bootcamp. One is the Bariatric Nutrition Basics. You will learn what and how to eat so you feel satisfied, reach your protein and fluid goals, and have less cravings, and know how to manage your hunger in the future. Meal ideas and meal planning. You will learn to plan meals and snacks that you like, so you have great options on hand when it comes time to eat. Also, we focus on mastering weight regain habits, identifying any habits that are stopping you from reaching your goals, and create manageable strategies to get back on the straight and narrow so you can manage your weight for the rest of your life. And also, I focus with my clients in my Bariatric Nutrition Bootcamp on learning to trust your body and food. Start to enjoy your food again by relearning to listen to your body cues so you have less guilt and improve your relationship with food and your body. If you are ready to maximize your weight loss surgery results, feel confident in your journey, and be led with support and expert guidance, then the Bariatric Nutrition Bootcamp is for you. If you would like to know more about my coaching program, check out the link in the show notes.
So I am now going to share with you 2 steps to practice if you're struggling with head hunger. This is not going to solve and fully help you manage the head hunger in your whole bariatric journey, but it's this first steps. Okay, so I've got 2 steps. So the first step is bring your head hunger into your awareness. And I'll put on my notes here, with compassion. And I always will say that, with compassion. And I'm going to talk more about this, but being aware of your head hunger, being aware of your thoughts, being aware and bringing them up to the surface, bringing them up to that really conscious level as opposed to them just being in the background. But we do it with compassion. We don't also have another thought that comes in, I shouldn't be thinking that. Oh, what am I thinking that for? Why am I thinking that? Oh, and then you're getting that kind of arguing with yourself. Or is that just me? No, just bad joke, but you know what I mean. So bringing your head hungry to awareness. So we're doing this because I want you to be more aware of where your hunger is coming from. Okay, I'm feeling this desire to eat. Let's check in. Where is it? Is it the body? Is it the head? In the mind? where is it coming from? So it's really getting awareness that it's coming from there and not the body, okay? And you can even say the words. That can help really bring this into really full consciousness. I feel like eating even though I am not hungry. I feel like eating even though I'm not physically hungry. And it's just that awareness, because this leads then into the next step. So we've really brought that, okay, I'm feeling like eating even though I'm not physically hungry. Step two. Step two is to ask yourself the question, what am I hungry for? And I love this question because you can ask yourself this question. If you're in the car, you might want to say it out loud. What am I hungry for? And this is about getting more awareness of what you're hungry for. And am I hungry for a reward? I'm hungry to feel not deprived. This comes up a lot when people get in really dieting or restrictive. You're thinking about all the things, and I'm using air quotes, not allowed, shouldn't have, all of that. I'm stressed and I just want some pleasure. I want to numb out. So whatever, it's about getting clear and keeping on asking yourself, what am I hungry for? You may not get a clear answer. That's okay. You're asking yourself the great question. And it's an exploration. What am I hungry for? And I know why this head hunger comes up, those really early days post-surgery, because overnight your body's changing. You've got a small tummy now or a pouch, and that's changed. And most people will say that physical hunger drops right down. But the brain still says, well, I'm hungry. I use food for different things as well. I give myself stress relief. I can eat when I'm bored to amuse myself. The brain can straight away start really causing, this head hunger in those really early days. Whereas if you took that away, people say, physically I'm actually okay. So asking yourself what you're hungry for is a wonderful question to explore. It is not the end of the pathway to managing head hunger, but it's part of the awareness is really important, okay? Also, journaling is wonderful. And I talk a lot to my clients about journaling. Do you need to get pen and paper and sit down and have a formal journal? No, you don't. If you want to do that, that's great. And if you do want to do that, you can even have, you can have kind of set questions that you ask yourself. Because sometimes sitting down and journaling thinking, oh God, where do I even start? Sometimes having some good questions even written down that you journal answering those questions, such as what am I hungry for? How am I feeling on the way home from work that is driving me to want to eat? What am I looking for in that food? What relates to my working for? What distraction am I looking for? Really exploration. Because there's no right or wrong with journaling. That's why it's wonderful. It's just a journal. And some people will journal like that. Some people you can just write out very messy, just whatever comes out, rip up the piece of paper, put it in the bin. You can do it in your notes section of your phone. So it's really just that stopping for a minute and being really aware of bringing awareness to your head hunger and bringing that up to that really full level of consciousness. And two, then asking yourself what you're really hungry for. So that wraps up this week's episode of my podcast. Thank you so much for listening and for getting to this point in the podcast. I really appreciate your support. And please know if you have a topic that you would like me to do a podcast on, you can suggest that topic to me. You can go into my show notes and there is a link to Ask Jane. It's a very simple to use link. Click on the link. You put your first name and the topic, and I will do a podcast episode on that topic. I have already had a suggestion, which I've got on my list to do a podcast on. So thank you so much for that person. And when I do the podcast, I'll be giving a shout out to the person that suggested that topic. So please feel free to do that. If there's something I haven't covered, if you want to know more about, or even just know more about my approach to a certain area of the bariatric nutrition journey. So thank you so much for listening, and I really look forward to being back in your ears next week. Bye for now.